So good morning everyone. Today our today's topic is conservative and non-conservative forces. Conservative and non-conservative forces. So to understand, if I go according to the definition, conservative forces are those forces for which you need to let me clear first one thing that about the work done. Work is always done against a force, against any opposing force. Work is always done against a force. If there is no opposing force, there will be no need to do work. You need to keep this thing in your mind. Work is always done against a force. And here comes the situation. Obviously, if you want to apply a force on a body, it means definitely there is something which is opposing the phenomena, or which is supposing we can say for an example, let me explain with the help of an example, so it would be much easier to you understand. If you are lifting a body from earth's surface, you have to apply a force greater than its weight, definitely. So F must be greater than mg if you want to lift a body in upward direction against the gravitational force. The weight of a body is actually the gravitational force acting on the body. Let's say Fg. Fg is the gravitational force acting on the body. So you need to apply a force against the gravitational force. That's why. So this time if I go for the work done, force into displacement. So you are talking about this force, and the origin of this force is this gravitational force. If there is no gravitational force acting on a body, there is no need to apply a force on this to displace it. So no work will be done. So clearly, work is always done against a force. Here the force is gravitational force. If you are displacing a body on a surface horizontally, you are doing a work against the frictional force. Definitely. So work is always done against a force. You need to pay attention on this thing. Now, if we talk about this opposing force, you will be able to discuss about, and you will be able to understand the meaning of conservative and non-conservative forces. So what are the conservative forces? Let me tell you. Suppose we are displacing a body from A position to B position against an opposing force, against any opposing force. Suppose there is the opposing force F, which is opposing this displacement A to B. This is an opposing force. Let's write an opposing force. So if you want to displace a body from A to B, and every time you need to do same work, same amount of work, whatever you are choosing path A to B, or you are choosing a path A to C to B, or you are choosing a different path A to O to B, like this. So every time you have to do same amount of work independent of path. Independent of path means whatever you are going through ACB, you are going through AOB, it doesn't matter. Every time work will be same from A to B against this force F. So in that situation, this force will be treated as a conservative force. Means we are defining the definition, or we are giving the definition for the force, not for the work, but in the reference of work. The opposing force, or we can say a conservative force, is a force against which if we are doing some work from one point to another point, there will be independency on the path. Means there is no dependency on the path. Whatever you are going A to B from directly, or A to C to B, or A to O to B, totally independent of path. In that situation, that particular force, that opposing force, is called conservative in nature. Means F is said to be conservative. F is said to be conservative if work W done against, or work done against this force, work done against this force is completely path independent, is path independent. You need to pay attention on this particular section, that work done against this force is path independent. It should not depend on the path, whatever you are choosing. So if WAB, WACB, WAOB, they are just equal, then you will say F is conservative in nature. F is conservative in nature. Otherwise, it is non-conservative definitely. So, for an example, if we talk about conservative forces, electric force is conservative in nature. Magnetic force is conservative in nature. Even gravitational force is conservative in nature. While friction force, it is not conservative in nature. It completely depends on path. For an example, if you are going from Khatoli to Muzaffarnagar with the help of a car, so if you are going directly Khatoli to Muzaffarnagar, the friction that we can say experienced by the tire, it would be different as compared to, or the tire we can say wearing and tearing of tire due to the friction, it would be different if we go first from Khatoli to Delhi and Delhi to suppose Sonipat and Sonipat to Muzaffarnagar in a different path. So definitely tire will get wear and tear more as compared to direct Khatoli to Muzaffarnagar. So friction force is totally path dependent. So it is non-conservative in nature. While the electric force, gravitational force, these are conservative in nature. Electric force is conservative, gravitational force is conservative, and it is required to prove in your syllabus. Our next target would be this, that to prove that gravitational force is conservative in nature. First, you need to understand the meaning of conservative force. So we are talking about the opposing force against which the work done will remain same and totally path independent. Such forces will be called conservative forces. Gravitational force is conservative in nature. So we need to prove this. So we will take 3 random examples to reach up to a particular height from Earth's surface. 3 different cases. For an example, we need to reach up to this point, which is situated at a height h from Earth's surface. Let's say O to A. And there are 3 possibilities to reach. One is directly from O to A against the gravitational force directly. O to A, and the height is h, and you are sending this body of mass m up to this height. You are sending this body, for an example, this body of mass m, so its weight would be mg, acting downward direction. So definitely a force would should be minimum, F should be minimum mg if you want to lift this body, and you are moving it up against the gravity. So this is the first case. Let's say the case first, against the gravity and up to the same height, but this time we are choosing a different path, O to A, but not from this path. We are moving it from B to A with the help of an inclined surface, but up to the same height h from the different path, like this. So same body, we are moving the same body of mass m, so definitely its weight is mg, and angle of inclination is supposed to be theta. Angle of inclination is theta. And another case is, let's call it second case. Third possibility is, if we want to send this body O to A through a random path, means calculus we need to introduce, through a totally random path. Let's say B to A, but through a random path. The body again same, of mass m, its weight acting downward mg this time. And another case is there. This is the third case. And the fourth case is, actually, if we want to send the body up to the same height h from O to A with the help of stairs. just equal steps. N number of steps are there, and each step is of same height, let's say y, and same horizontal gap x. Height is y and gap is x. Let me write it here in this way, you can understand. So n number of steps are there, n steps. Again you are sending the body up to height h. So there are total 4 possibilities to send this body up to height h against gravitational force. There are 4 possible cases. This is the 4th case. Now we need to prove that every time for the same height against the same gravitational force, every time you have to do same work. So if we are able to prove it, it will be proved that gravitational force is conservative in nature. So let's start one by one from these cases. So let's focus on first case. So F minimum should be, because we are talking about the extreme case, so F must be equal to mg if you want to displace it up to height h, or you can write like this, F must be greater than or equal to. So we are talking about minimum force, so F is mg minimum. So we are talking about this only, and displacement S is actually h, and theta is 0 because displacement and the force, they are in the same direction. So definitely theta would be 0. So work done O to A in the first case, let's say W1. So W1 would be Fs cos theta according to the standard formula. So W1 is simply m into g into h. Cos 0 is plus 1. So that would be mgh. The work done against gravitational force, that is mgh. Let's say equation first. This is the first case, easiest one. Now let's move the body against the gravitational force with the help of an inclined surface. You need to note this down in your copy later on. Now the body has been displaced up to the same height h, O to A, with the help of an inclined surface. B to A we are sending it, and its angle of inclination is theta. At a moment the particle was at a position this, so at that moment its weight is acting perfectly downward, let's say mg. So one component, you need to pay attention on this, is actually compressing the surface. This angle is also theta, we have discussed it already in the previous chapter, that is mg cos theta, and one component is responsible to move it down, that is mg sin theta, and the reaction against the way we can say mg cos theta is r. And if you want to move it in upward direction by applying a force F, so F minimum should be mg sin theta. We know it very well why. This is the minimum least case. Minimum F should be mg sin theta to move it. And if we say with the constant velocity it is moving, keep this in mind. So definitely F is mg sin theta because the resultant force would be 0. So in this way we are talking about where v is constant, by which the body is moving in upward direction with the same constant velocity. Now another equilibrium condition is R is exactly equal to mg cos theta. So now if we want to find out the work is done by F, this F. So W, work done W2, let's say it would be F S cos theta, and this time S displacement is BA, B to A. In that situation cos theta would be 0. Let's say if you are getting confused that theta is theta here, no, I am talking about a different theta. Let me name it phi for you, so that it won't be confusing for you. Phi is the angle of inclination, so that would be cos phi and that would be sin phi. Theta is the angle between force and displacement according to the formula. So this is phi, a different angle of inclination. So we are talking about BA. BA is just along the F. So cos theta would be 0. So you can simply write F into BA, but the problem is we don't have the value of BA. So first we need to find out BA. How can we find out BA? Let's see in this triangle. In triangle ABO, in this triangle, let's talk about. We are having the perpendicular value and we need to find out the hypotenuse. So sin phi will give you the relation between perpendicular, that is AO or H upon hypotenuse, that is BA. So you can find out BA. BA is H upon sine phi. BA is H upon sine phi. You can place this value here. So work done W2 would become, force is mg sine phi into BA is H upon sine phi. Sine phi to sine phi will get cancelled. So finally work done W2 it would be M into G into H. Again same as the previous one. Let's say question second. This is for the second case. Now let's talk about the third case. With the help of a random path. This time we are displacing the body up to height h from O to A again, but through the totally random path, like this, from B to A. So again force. Now we need to pay attention on this thing. Its weight is acting perfectly downwards, that is mg. So for a moment the body has been displaced with a small displacement, let's say P to Q. The body has been displaced from P to Q. So definitely it will get displaced by a small displacement dx in horizontal and a small displacement dy in vertical by the application of an angular force, a random force. So it is being displaced by two forces, dx and dy, and we need to move it. So we are applying two types of forces, one in horizontal and one in vertical. So if we talk about only vertical force, because we are supposed to calculate the displacement in vertical direction up to height h. So let's say F. So F must be equal to mg again for vertical one. So let's call it Fy. So Fy is in vertical direction, or you can call it Fy is mg minimum. It is mg minimum. Keep this thing in your mind. And the displacement, there are two small displacements, dy and dx, for a small random displacement P to Q. For a small P to Q displacement, there are actually two displacements, dy in y-axis, that is dy in y-axis, and dx in x-axis. This is the major point. So and the work done against gravity, only Fy is responsible for the force against gravity. So that's why we are only considering Fy, not Fx. Why? Because Fx is not acting against gravity. The title is to measure the work which is being done against gravity. So keep this thing in your mind. So that's why we are taking only Fy, not Fx, because Fx is not acting against gravity. So if you want to consider Fx also, it won't be considered. It won't be considered for this particular derivation. So work done against gravity, a small work dw will be done. dw will be done against gravity or gravitational force. It will be done for, or you can say by Fy, force for dy displacement in y-axis. So if I apply the calculus form, so dw equals to Fy into dy cos theta, and since Fy and dy they are in the same direction, so cos theta would be 1 again. So dw equals to Fy dy, where Fy is actually mg. Integrating both sides again for the range, because B to A we need to find out. Integrating both sides. So what we will get after integration, it will become simply W. So W equals to integration of Fy is actually mg and dy, and displacement in y-axis limit is 0 to maximum h, 0 to h in vertical. So mg into dy and limit 0 to h. Mg is a constant. Mg is a constant, so definitely it will W equals to, or we can call it W3. for right now third case. W3 is mg and displacement or differential integration of 1 with respect to y, 0 to h. So definitely it would be h after placing the limit. So W3 is mgh again. Work done against gravity through a random path, it is again mgh for a third case. And now if we talk about the fourth case, the fourth case, if we talk about, means with the help of stairs, O, A, and this vertical displacement is h, and the body is being displaced by, we can say, stairs, and each step is of y in height and x in, we can say, length. At any moment the body is at a position at this way, in this way, mg, and you are going to apply two forces, one against the gravity, that is Fy again, which is actually mg, and one in horizontal direction. So suppose horizontal direction displacement is x, so work done in x due to Fy would be 0 because they are at 90. X in this direction, Fy in upward direction, so theta would be 90 and cos 90 is 0. So you do not need to pay attention on horizontal displacement because we are only talking about the work done against gravity. And there are n number of steps. So work done against gravity is due to Fy force for one step y displacement and for n steps n into y displacement, and actually n into y is h, y one step height, so total height would be n into y definitely. So keep this thing in mind. So work done for one step, let's say small w, work done for one step, let's say small w. So small w equals to Fy into height of one step, that is small y. This is the work done for one step, or you can write it mgy. Why I'm not using cos theta? Because it would be plus 1 again in the same direction. Displacement y and Fy, they are in the same direction. So mgy, and for n steps, so definitely total work done W4 would be n into small w, work done for each step in y axis. So for n steps it will be n, it would be nw, and we can write it like this, mg into n into y, and n into y is actually h, again W4 is mgh. So from all four equations you can say the work done against gravitational force, it will be path independent, or you can say gravitational force is conservative in nature. So that is a verification or justification for the nature of gravitational force as conservative.